Ah, well, in the words of a famous man, it's about goddamn time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast. We today are starting the journey through the Infinity Saga. Yes, 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 yes. Me and Kevin have been speculating whether or not we were gonna do this like a year ago. How when Corona started, we were saying, "Hey, let's do the MCU," and I was like, "What? No, we're not gonna do that." Well, here we are. When nothing is out to talk about, this is what you do. We will be reviewing every single MCU movie, from Iron Man all the way to Captain Marvel. I already explained this in my Aliens vs. Predator review, but I'm gonna explain it one more time for all the idiots that don't listen. We have reviewed 3 MCU movies in the past. I might be wrong, but it was Thor the Dark World, Avengers Endgame, and Spider-Man Far From Home. We will not be reviewing Thor the Dark World again because I refuse to watch that movie again. Avengers Endgame we might re-review because that was one of the very first reviews that we ever did, and it was kind of sloppy. Far From Home, I really have no interest in re-reviewing. I'll watch it again, but I was gonna play Avengers, but Avengers is a broken fucking mess, so I have to play Fortnite, and I'm going to use the Marvel skins that I have, and I'm going to use the Silver Iron Man because this is his first outing. So without further ado, let's begin with the one that started it all. And we are going in release order, as you can tell. We are not going in chronological order, because if we were, you would be getting a very angry first video. So, with that said, here we go. The first Iron Man came out in 2008 and was directed by Jon Favreau, and I was like, what, 6? What, no, 5. I was 5 years old when this movie came out. I did see this one in the theater. I've seen most of the Marvel movies in the theater. I think the only ones I haven't seen are the ones that I thought would be bad. Like, I didn't see Guardians of the Galaxy 2 in the theaters, and thank God, because I don't like that movie. Spoiler alert for the review. I didn't see Doctor Strange, but I ate my words because I love Doctor Strange. I think those are the only 2 I didn't see in the theater. Every other Marvel movie I've seen in the theater. But, yeah, so Iron Man came out in 2008, and this kind of came out of nowhere because the only thing that people had faith in was the fact that, hey, Robert Downey Jr. is playing Iron Man. Okay. Everyone else was like, well, why are they making an Iron Man movie? And mind you, this came out the same year The Dark Knight came out. 2008 was a wild year. We had The Dark Knight, we had Iron Man, Wall-E. I mean, shit. And we had Twilight come out, but that's another yeah. So Iron Man is about Tony Stark, played by wonderfully by Robert Downey Jr., who is working for his father's company. He's like a playboy, I guess. He really doesn't give a shit about anything. And then he gets attacked and kidnapped, and he's forced to build this weapon for these terrorists. And he decides, listen, I'm not taking this shit. So he decides to build a suit of armor that will help him escape. That is part of the plot. That's the gist of it. So, what do I think of the first Iron Man? I really love Iron Man. It is kind of refreshing to go back to this state of the MCU because the MCU is really different now. It is nowhere near this. This is fresh. This is a time in the MCU where things are fresh. We weren't getting. I know it sounds like I'm bashing on how the MCU is now. I'm not. It's just how it is. This reminds me of a time where an MCU movie came out and we were like, wow, that was really unique and that was fresh. Now it's like an MCU movie comes out and 9 out of 10 times it's kind of the same, but we still love them because of how unique they are in the same way. But regardless, I really love this movie because it's awesome. Robert Downey Jr. absolutely kills it. Terrence Howard as War Machine. Oh, I'm sorry, Rhodey. He didn't get to that stage. Thank you, Paramount. Um, But I think Terrence Howard does a great job. I don't know her name, and I'm not gonna butcher her name because I just don't feel like butchering her name. But the actress who plays Pepper Potts is fucking awesome. I feel like she was born to play that character. The same thing with Robert Downey Jr. I mean, I don't think you're gonna find a single other person that could play Iron Man. You know, and
I think
he.
that's the same for like almost every other MCU character.
No, that's not true.
Not everyone, but I'm saying like a good handful of them.
The action sequences are also just awesome. You know, there's not many of them, but this is one of the few MCU movies that I think it benefits. Well, it doesn't benefit from not having action, but it's a MCU movie that doesn't need action. You know, special effects are also top notch. The pacing is also very good. It's very quick, very fast moving. Dialogue is on point. The script is awesome. The music, the soundtrack, AC/DC, fucking awesome, fantastic. I mean, I know they didn't do the entire score, but I mean, when you mention Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2, and you include the word soundtrack, everyone thinks of AC/DC. And if they don't, well, then they're a fucking idiot. I mean, that's just how it is. What else? What else? What else? The post-credit scene. The post-credit scene, man. If I was 17 and I saw this movie with Kevin, I think I would have strangled him. I think so, man. That post-credit scene is something else. I was too young to understand what was happening back in the day. I'm sure everyone in my theater was losing their bananas. That just reminds you how far the MCU has come. There's not really much to talk about left in Iron Man except my negatives. But Kevin, what do you think of the first Iron Man? And don't just say I hit the nail on the head. Say what you liked about it.
Just looking back on it, I think this is just one of those nostalgic films. I think that just starting it just kind of gives you that nostalgic feel. I can't just look at it and just criticize or just try to pinpoint everything I like and didn't like, even though I will in a bit. But this is one of those films that I just want to appreciate because of this nostalgic feel it brings to it. Especially after Endgame, seeing like seeing how Iron Man first started as this fucking selfish idiot that just did whatever he wanted. I mean, he was, and just seeing that character go full circle. So it was very nice to see the beginning. I think Iron Man as a starter character, he was just one of those fucking idiots that just did whatever he wanted. He was quite literally, what was it that he said in Avengers? Playboy? Philanthropist, I think he said.
I don't know.
He was just a smart.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But I just really liked Iron Man as a character because it was just like starting off, you're not expecting a character to be he's all noble, he's a nice person, he's the best person. He comes after his father. The only thing he came after his father was his intelligence. Other than that, I wouldn't see him as much as his father because he was just an idiot. He didn't like anybody. It's not that he didn't like them, but I'm trying to fucking. He was just not the best person in the world, and seeing him turn into a hero, even then, he still hasn't completed that journey, and he just kind of took it one step of the way. So I kind of like that about Iron Man. I think some of the action sequences, that last fight between him and Obadiah was really awesome. Although it was kind of half-assed the way he somehow survived. He survived that last initial explosion. I guess he just kind of survived. But it was still a good fight overall. And Terrence Howard, and I'm pretty sure you said this already, but I think that if he kept on going as Rhodey, he would have been really good. I think he was terrific as him. And I don't know what else to say. That's pretty much it.
All right. Let's talk about the negatives because this movie's not perfect. It is very good, but it's not perfect. Mainly my only issue with this movie is the villains. We will say this about 4 times over. Well, no, I'm not going to say it for the Incredible Hulk. But we're going to say this about 4 times over before we get to Captain America: The Winter Soldier. The villains. I said villains because there are two villains in this movie. They suck. I listen. I don't got anything about. I mean, against Jeff Bridges in this movie as Obadiah Stane. I think he plays the role fine. Jeff Bridges is a great actor. It's just the writing for his villain is like you have this grounded movie, and you have Obadiah acting like a fucking clown. I don't know. I find it really cheesy. You know, we had this movie that wasn't over the top and insane, and then you have Obadiah's fucking going around with a fucking remote control fucking. Well, what the hell did that thing even do? It just like. I don't know what that thing did. It like fucking gave somebody a seizure for like 20 minutes. Shit, fuck if I know. But I don't know. It just came off as weird to me. I didn't really like it all that much. Like it was kind of just fine, I guess. I don't know. And the other villain, like the terrorist, I don't know what they were trying to do with that because he doesn't come back after the thing with Obadiah happens.
Yeah, and I think, well, maybe he might. They did, or didn't they say they were the 10 rings? You know, they probably might bring him back for.
They could.
Oh wait, he died. Never mind.
When did he die?
When Obadiah went up there and he practically killed their entire place.
No. He said, oh, it would last 20 minutes.
Well, my fault. Well, maybe he could come back in Shang-Chi. Yeah. I just think they haven't explored the 10 rings enough. And honestly,
that's another thing. I know we're not at Iron Man 3 yet, but seeing the thing with the 10 rings just infuriates me because I feel like they were not planning on a Shang-Chi movie for years. I don't really think when they mentioned the 10 rings, they're like, oh yeah, we're going to do the Mandarin, we're going to do the 10 rings in Shang-Chi. And they don't do anything with him until now. Well, not until now, when Shang-Chi comes out. And it's like, what? Oh, alright, I guess.
And just to note about the villain, and I guess this kind of goes for the Iron Man villains and the Spider-Man villains in the MCU. I just find it kind of weird that every single Iron Man villain is just comprised of people who are jealous of Tony Stark. That's pretty much it. You have Obadiah, he's jealous that he didn't get the job over Tony when Howard left, and that he had to kind of give up his position. And I was just like, okay. And it's one of those, you kind of see that coming, and as far as the others, we'll just get to them when we get to them. I just find it kind of weird that whenever a villain is remotely connected to Iron Man, whether it be in the actual Iron Man films or in the Spider-Man films, it's all just because they're just jealous of Tony Stark. I don't know. Looking back on it now, it kind of just throws me off a bit.
Well, okay. In terms of the Spider-Man villains, that's different because with Vulture... listen to this clown. He's got me talking about a movie that we're not talking about for like 4 weeks. Look at this clown. We're not there yet, but no. We're not talking. No. Yes, in terms of Obadiah, yes, that is what happened.
For me, that kind of throws me off. You know.
Yes, I know.
Like just looking back on it now, the fact that all it was is that he was just jealous of Tony Stark, and I kind of get it. You know, you don't want to. This is not a high-scale movie. You don't want a high-scale movie of just, you know, Obadiah wants to destroy the world, but I don't know. I feel like the motivation could have been a little better. It was just like, you kind of saw this coming. It is called Stark Industries. He was going to take your job at one point. You know?
I don't know. Point is, this is what happens when you have a plan for a movie, series, Disney.
It's funny how Disney was able to make up a good plan for the MCU after they acquired it, or more than Star Wars until the fucking TV shows.
Listen, we're not talking about Star Wars. We already complained about Star Wars last year. We're done talking about Star Wars. But that is going to do it for Iron Man. I personally really love this movie. Again, the third act is just kind of weak because of the weak villain, I feel like. But if you had a good villain, which they never did with Iron Man movies, you know, you could have had a great, you know, movie. And I think it would have been a perfect movie if you just nailed that villain. But regardless, I'd probably give it like a 9. Yeah, 9. It is one of the still top tier MCU movies, no question. I absolutely love this movie. Um, I don't think they're ever gonna hit this mark. I don't think they're ever gonna make a movie better than Endgame. But in terms of solo movies, for me, it's Winter Soldier and then Iron Man. So, but thank you guys so much. We are just getting started. We have a whole lot of these reviews to do. I mean, a whole lot.
And hopefully Black Widow releases on time and we can go to see it.
Listen, you know what? At this point, I don't really give a shit about Black Widow. In terms of our release date, English, I don't give a shit about it in terms of our release slate because I actually just want to get these reviews done because even if Black Widow does get delayed again, which I think it will be, I think it'd just be cool for us to have every single MCU movie review, just like we did Star Wars and the DCEU. So, thank you guys so much. I'll be on the lookout on Friday for our review of The Incredible Hulk, which, I mean, should be interesting. If my fan base is on my side, then it shouldn't be interesting. But if my fan base is on the side of half the MCU community, then get your pitchforks ready. But thank you guys so much. Please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and stay safe out there. See ya.